It was a struggle.
Hey God, people that say pastors, I'm in it now. As you see me like this, don't pray for me. Personally, I feel like a lot of times at church, at least when I was younger, it wasn't spoken about enough. It was just don't have sex and that's it. Why?
Say for example, you guys have started having sex outside of marriage, and then you get into marriage, and for whatever reason, your partner is not able to meet your sexual needs. Say they had surgery, or they're away, or they're sick, or they're pregnant. You're gonna struggle because you have attached a level of intimacy to sex alone, where you can't connect with your partner. You can't feel like you guys are in love. A few days to our wedding, few months to our wedding, I was just like, oh, I will do this thing every day, every night. Look at us now. Like, I will be like, come on, leave me alone. I want to sleep. Like, you will sleep. If I can't be.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Uzoma Ruchi. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. And yeah, as you can tell from the title, today is going to be good.
Yes.
You guys know Brandy already if you've been on my channel for a while, but if you don't...
Hi, my name is Owen Brandy. Welcome
what do you
back
do?
to Uzoma's channel. What do? I'm a lifestyle creator. I'm also an entrepreneur. And I'm a pastor.
I forgot! Oh my god, you're actually a pastor!
Yeah.
Oh my god! Today we're going to be talking about celibacy, sex, marriage. I asked you guys on my Instagram and a lot of you guys actually said that you wanted to hear about this. So we're going to talk about it. And I thought that like it would be a good idea to talk about this with Brandy because she's married and I'm not. And personally, one thing I hate is when married people talk about, oh, celibacy, don't have sex, don't worry, it's gonna be fine, guys, it's gonna be fine. And let me tell you now, I know that it is the truth, and I know that most times like they're actually being,
It is for sure the truth.
yes, like they're being truthful and they're like actually saying it as it is. But I just hate it from married people because I'm just like, you guys don't understand the struggle, so don't talk about something you don't understand. Anyway, not to come for you guys, but anyway, today's video is going to be talking about celibacy, why God has designed celibacy and marriage to be this way, and just talking about it really. Personally, I'm going to be talking about the struggle because I know Brandy's not in that struggle but anymore.
Aye.
But I am, and it's actually deep. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our celibacy journeys, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And then
Sure.
from then I have a few questions which I've written down, and we're just going to discuss, like we're just going to have a nice conversation, you know, like nothing too intense.
Okay.
But I just want people to like actually have a space where they can hear about this from a Christian point of view and from the point of view of someone that is going through it and someone that has gone through it and is now on the other side, and you know, encouragement to us single ladies and boys actually that are watching this. But yeah, tell us, what's your celibacy journey been like? And you guys, she hasn't seen any of these questions, and so she's going to be answering truthfully.
Your
like,
fave is cornering me. Uzoma is cornering me.
yeah, because I was like, if I give her time to think about it, it won't be authentic. Like, she will have a really good crafted answer, but I don't want that. I want to have the real tea. Also, we didn't plan this outfit, so
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, tell me, what was it? I feel like I need a cup of tea.
What's your celibacy journey?
Yes, you tell us.
That's a very interesting question. For people that don't know, or maybe you know, I don't even know. Obviously, we know that the Bible calls us to a place of sexual purity, where we are not defiling our bodies or defiling the marriage bed, or sexual purity in every form. So no fornication, but also no adultery. And prior to giving my life to Christ, I obviously started dating my now husband at the time, and we didn't have any standards, right? We didn't have any standards to go by. We were just living. So at the time, we had had sex, right? So my celibacy journey is coming from a place of someone that has already been exposed to that life. So I feel like it's also different, right? It's not the same.
Okay.
I wish, and I always say this all the time, I remember during marriage counseling, I was telling my marriage counselor that I wish I had started off on a clean slate, right? Because what that looks like is you don't know what it is, so you can tell yourself, to be honest, it might not even be that great, it might not be that good, so don't go into trying it. But this was not the case for us, right? After giving our lives to Christ, we knew that, we didn't want to do that anymore. We wanted to live our lives as a life of a Christian, lives of purity, lives of good. We wanted to live a good life, if that makes sense. And it was tough. It was tough because we would find that it's not easy to navigate something that you have already started doing, and then you tell yourself, you tell your brain, you tell your body, you tell everything about you that
no, this is wrong.
Yeah, this is wrong and we need to stop. I'll say the first step for us that made it much easier is that we were both aligned. We're both on the same page. We both had given our lives to Christ around the same time. So it made sense that, yes, we don't want to do this anymore. We started watching videos of other Christians and how they did it. And the truth is, a lot of people are not really transparent about their journey. They will tell you, don't do it, but they're not telling you if they had done it or not. Does that make sense? Like it's
they're very shady. And that's what I don't like. This is why I knew that this video was needed, because I just feel like a lot of people are so weird about this subject for no reason. And then we now go and complain that, in the world, everywhere sex. How would there be everywhere sex when Christians are not talking about it? It's just so weird to me. But
I feel like, me personally, I'm usually very open to talk about it within my circle, right? I'm an open book. I will tell you the mistakes I've made, and I'll tell you how I recovered from them. So honestly, the only way to go about it, if you're someone that has already done it, first of all, is knowing that there is no condemnation now that you are in Christ. The only way to go about it is to set up boundaries. But the thing is, people say set boundaries. But the thing about boundaries is that if you start pushing those boundaries a little at a time, you'll get to a point where those boundaries are going to be broken. And it looks like, spending time with each other late at night. It looks like a lot of things.
Girl, don't wait. You're running.
Okay.
You're running.
No, I'm just telling you my own journey. I'm telling you my own journey and how we were able to get to a place of celibacy, right? I would not actually say celibacy, but I would say a place of sexual purity, because I personally think they are kind of two different things. Celibacy is saying, I don't want to have sex for whatever reason, but sexual purity is knowing that I'm not doing this because I'm living a life that is devoted to God. So we were both on a journey of sexual purity, and I would be lying if I say we didn't fall from time to time. But one thing that we did is that every time that we fall, we don't stay in that place. If you stay in that place, the devil knows how to eat you up real good. He would eat you up so much that you would even be like, we've already done it now, let's continue. But we would never stay in that place. We would always go back to God. And it's so upsetting that sin is so it's so painful that it completely makes you feel like you're completely separated from God, and God doesn't want to have to deal with your filth. But that is why Christ came. He came to tell us that even though you have fallen, even though you are falling to this place, it's not about falling, it's about staying in that place, that sunken place. So we would never allow ourselves to stay in that place. We would always rise above it, ask for forgiveness, and make sure that whatever it is that had hindered us or made us fall, we are putting up stronger boundaries against it. And it's also very tough because we dated for quite a while.
5 years.
Yeah, almost 6 actually. 1 month from 6 years. We dated for almost 6 years, and we're filming. Why are you calling me?
Bye-bye, sorry, sorry, bye-bye.
You've already said it a lot. You guys, you can see where she's a pastor. Can you see where she's now Pastor Brandy, period. Okay, now after that sermon, I'm gonna tell you guys my celibacy story. So my own celibacy story is kind of different because I've never been with anybody for 5 years. Thank Jesus. Because who's doing that? Who is doing that? Celibacy for 5 years, not me.
No, honestly, I advise against it.
No, because what's the meaning of that? No, they met when they were younger.
When we were really young, so
exactly. But for me, I wouldn't say so. I have always been celibate my entire life. So I am thankful to God that I have actually never had sex. So
Thank you,
weird
Jesus.
seeing that on the internet. It's so strange. But yeah, I actually haven't. But like, other things have happened. And I'm just saying that honestly to be completely transparent with you guys, so that you don't think that we're just doing this from a place of self-righteousness or whatever. Absolutely not. Like, other things have definitely transpired. But for me, it's been a thing of like, since I was young, I knew that this was something that I wanted to. Even when I wasn't necessarily like that close with God, this is something that I had been convicted of since I was very young. So I was like, I don't know why like this is such a pressing issue for me, but it just is. And I guess as I grew up and I grew in my faith, I started to understand a bit more. But I'm not going to lie, it's not like I have arrived anywhere, to be honest. It's even harder when you are in a godly relationship. Let me tell you now, it's much harder.
It is.
It's like 10 times harder actually, because you just know, like, you already know that this is the person for you anyway. So
I was like, why don't we just
exactly literally
dabble?
There are many why don't we just but like, yo, it's anyway, my journey has just been like that. I have gone through so many phases. There was a time I thought that I was never going to kiss my partner until my wedding day. That ship has sailed. But like I have just gone through many different phases of like this whole thing, and I think at this point in my life I would say I'm closest to getting married in terms of where my life is actually
It gets
at.
tougher.
Yo,
As close as you get.
listen, there was a time in my life that I didn't care at all for any of these things, and I was like, is something wrong with me? Like, why don't I feel these urges as my normal age mates do? Oh, oh
You
God.
lie.
I lied. Seriously, like, it was just, my body was just like, okay, don't worry, just wait. And I find that now is actually the hardest time of my life in terms of my celibacy journey, but this is when it matters the most. So it's like really hard. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much on this part because I have a few questions that I think that Brandy will be able to answer that will give us clarity as well. Essentially, why is God saying don't have sex before marriage? Like, what is it that he wants us to achieve by not having sex before marriage? Now that you're married, it's like,
that is so,
what do you
so
think?
good. I feel like this is so good. Just because it's funny how we're literally about to be talking about the exact same thing on my podcast.
Are you serious?
But yes, that is by the way.
gosh.
That's by the way.
I don't even know this, guys.
Well, yeah, I'll plug soon. But I just want to quickly answer this question. I think that many times when we're hearing don't have sex before marriage, we always think that God is saying it for himself, or so that we don't disappoint him. But most of all, I think this is definitely one commandment that is for us. If God is telling us that our bodies are his temple and that our bodies are so special, we're made in the image of God and all this good stuff, and God made us perfect, he is saying this to protect us and our bodies. And what people don't understand is that when you end up getting involved in premarital sex, and imagine if you don't end up with, lucky for you if you end up with that person. Honestly, I don't even know if it's lucky for you, but lucky for you if you end up with that person. Imagine you don't now end up with the person that you're with. It feels like you have given a part of yourself away to somebody else. And you're the one that has to deal with all the trauma. You're the one that has to deal with all the entanglements. You're the one that has to deal with all the attachment issues. You're the one that has issues now when you're married, that you have been exposed to a kind of sex that you now think is what you want, and your partner is not able to give that to you, and you're the one that is exposed to sexual frustration.
Yeah.
You know how a lot of people say, oh, sexual compatibility this, sexual compatibility that. I don't necessarily think that that's the way God intended it to be, that you should be sexually compatible with another person. It is because of experiences that you have had that has shaped the way that you think sex should be that is now a problem in your marriage. It's not that. And you're supposed to learn with your forever person. Learn their bodies, learn the things they like, learn the things they don't like, and that is how you build your sexual stance. But then when you've had multiple sexual partners, you're a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but nothing of God. Like, it's just so, it's just, God is telling you, keep this thing, keep this precious thing till marriage for a reason. For a reason. Like, there's so many things that how sex affects your mind. Sex is so personal, it's so intimate. Even though the world is trying to paint it like it's not, like it's just another thing, don't listen to them. It's so intimate. It's like the most heightened level of intimacy that there could be. Imagine having to share that with multiple people. It's not God's plan.
Yeah, and I find that a lot of times we talk about this thing, like just as we're talking about it now, I find that sometimes a lot of married couples are not explicit about the practical reasons that, yes, like we know that God said no, we know that God is saying that to protect us, we know all these things, but on a practical level, like you've just said, like it can actually create rifts between your actual partner, because
serious issues, even it can create mental issues, because now you are so attached to this person. Because sex, okay, now let me give you like a good Bible example. When the Bible says that a man will leave his father and his mother and become one with his wife, one flesh with his wife, what the Bible is actually talking about in that instance of one flesh is consummating your marriage. It's the first time that you have sex. That's when you become one flesh. Now imagine becoming one flesh with multiple people. Like you'll be like dreaming about different people. And it can actually affect your mental state, because you have created a marriage attachment when there is not a marriage commitment. Like it's so weird. Imagine dreaming about somebody that doesn't even care about you.
Oh God, talk about that. Ooh, child. Like even me when I was still doing rubbish, when I was in the world.
Not doing rubbish.
Seriously, you guys, when I was still doing rubbish, sorry to my parents that are watching. I used to have dreams. Multiple dreams for months. I'm the same person that would still go on deliverance call and say, hey, I cast a bind, and I would still go and enter the bondage myself. And it was just like a lot of mental stress. I'm not going to lie, like it was actually a lot. And I was like, what am I really doing? Like, what is the point of all of this? For no reason, I'm just putting myself under like stress. Exactly. Like the dreams, everything. I can't even imagine having dreams when you're already married about someone else.
Exactly. Now that is crazy. And I feel like another thing that doesn't get talked about enough is the concept of like sexual spirits that are demonic actually affecting your life because of your multiple sexual partners. This is a real thing. Like this is an actual real thing. There's spirit channel that you have opened yourself up to that allows demonic sexual beings and spirits to attack your life because you've had multiple sexual partners. Like I don't want to go into like gory details, but people that have encounters where they're dreaming and they're like, you know, some of them, it might not be because of multiple sexual partners, but trust me, many times it is. You are dreaming about someone like having sex with you, and you're always having like sexual dreams. Honestly, guys, if you're having sexual dreams that are like very gory, like I don't think it's normal.
I don't think it's normal, one. And I think that another thing to emphasize though is that there is hope. There is always hope. There's always hope. But
there is deliverance.
Yes, the reason we're talking about it like this though is just to give like actual like
real life practical situations.
Yeah, that can happen as a result, because my aim for this video is actually just to talk about this openly, and so that it can be accessible to anybody that is watching to have a better understanding. Because personally I feel like a lot of times at church, at least when I was younger, it wasn't spoken about enough. It was just don't have sex and that's it. Why? Like we are a generation that asks questions. Why are we not allowed to have sex? Like it's a thing all over the world. People just do anyhow these days. Like it doesn't even matter
like
to
the
people
entire
anymore.
world is so sexual.
Exactly. So why it's a very important conversation to have. So I'm just gonna talk from my own standpoint, seeing as like in my own current relationship we are abstinent, and we are definitely keeping it that way by God's grace.
Amen.
Till marriage. And I think that I wanted to also share, like I wanted to ask you as well what benefits you found. I'll say mine first. So the benefits we found when we decided, to be fair, from the start of the relationship we were like, yeah, this is it and nothing else. And that was something that I was really happy that we were able to come to terms with and actually keep our stand on. And I found that like abstinence, even when, and not even just about penetrative sex, like actual, when you know you're crossing boundaries, that you shouldn't, like anything that feels like, oh my, this is about to get, like I'm about to off pants type thing.
I'm very happy that you mentioned this because when we're talking about sex, I hope you guys are understanding that we don't just mean the moments where, you know, you're broken through and you have gone on the Jerusalem journey. I hope you know that it's not just penetration that we're talking about. I hope you're thinking about everything that it may look like.
Yeah, like,
be it blowjobs, be it like just touching any part you're not supposed to be touching. And I'm trying to be very descriptive because people like saying, okay, is this bad?
How far can we go?
How far?
That's
like,
not the
there's
point.
even some kind of kissing that I promise you, like, you have passed the boundary.
You have actually passed it. You have broken the boundary.
If it feels like sex,
yeah.
If it makes you feel like sex, if it arouses part of it that should be staying down, you have probably passed the line that you're not supposed to go.
Yes, and again, I just want to emphasize that we're saying this and talking about this not because we are more than or better than. We have literally been there.
You literally heard my journey.
As in, like,
we struggled. It was a struggle.
Hey God, people that are saying pastors, I mean it's now. As you see me like this, just pray for me because it's not.
No one do the marriage thing.
God, please. Anyway, seriously though, like it's actually not easy at all, and we're not here to say that it is, but we're just saying how it is. Like the truth is the truth, and whether we're going to get with the program or not is up to us.
Yeah.
But I would say that in my own relationship, when we have felt like, oh, we have crossed the boundary a little bit, like we're kissing a bit too much or whatever the case, and we find that we have to draw back, for example, in a particular season, and we say, okay, we're not kissing. I find that it actually makes us way more intentional about like actually being intimate. Yeah. So so for example, like just having more conversations that actually cause our minds to be intertwined in a deeper way, like that is not necessarily possible. Like if I find I'm ever in a situation where, oh, I feel like we've crossed this boundary a bit, I find that my mind is a bit foggy. Like I don't
have a clear vision.
Do you get like and it's just God's mercy that I'm actually with a sensible person. So I don't feel as if like I'm really losing too much, even though it's not meant to be the case anyway. But like when my mind just gets foggy, but when we're actually adhering to our boundaries and actually keeping in mind what God wants us to do, not necessarily to say, oh, how far can we go, but more like how much can we honor God with this. When we're actually thinking that way, my mind is so much clearer. Like the future is so much like brighter, if that makes sense. Like I can think in the right context instead of just thinking, oh, I can't wait for this person so that I can kiss them well, like, and so that we can do rubbish. Do you get like it just makes it makes your mind so much clearer. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know if you found that.
It does. And there was something you touched on that I just wanted to follow up with. It's the concept of intimacy without sex. And I feel like once you start having sex, you're not able to discover any other way to be intimate with your partner without sex.
That's what people say, you know.
Now, and
you can't go back.
If there ever be a season where your partner is not able to, and I'm even talking like in the concept of marriage now. Say for example, you guys have started having sex outside of marriage, and then you get into marriage, and for whatever reason your partner is not able to meet your sexual needs. Say they had surgery, or they're away, or they're sick, or they're pregnant. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle because you have attached a level of intimacy to sex alone, where you can't connect with your partner. You can't feel like you guys are in love without that act of penetration. And there should be so many other ways. Find intimacy in your prayer life. Find intimacy with the conversations that you have. Find intimacy with doing the things that you both love.
Board games.
Oh my God, I was gonna say, like my husband's name. I was gonna say my boyfriend. Jesus, my husband's name is Olumide. Olumide and I literally have our best time. Even though we diss each other, we like come for each other, we have our best time when we're playing like our board games. If you open our like cupboard, you see different games there because we love it. It's like over and above like sex, there is so many ways to have fun with your partner. There's so many ways to be like open, even some kind of deep conversations that you can have. Some kind of deep,
Yeah, like if you're
you'll be like, damn, I married you.
As in, I
Yes.
married the right person.
Yes.
But if you're more concerned about, okay, when's the next time we're going to have sex? Well, you will not even think about the fact that this person has a mind. All you'll be thinking about is their body, which in itself is like.
And let me shock you. You might not want to hear this, but guys, when you actually get married and the pot is just right there, you don't want to do it as much. And this is how you know. This is
a lie. I don't believe you.
Okay, when you get in there, you come back and do a review. And this is how you know that the enemy actually entices us with the things that we feel like is the greatest thing ever. Honestly, prior to getting married, like few days to our wedding, few months to our wedding, I was just like, oh, I will do this thing every day, every night. Look at us now. Like I will be like, come on, leave me alone. I want to sleep. Like you will sleep. If I come home, don't say I'm like tomorrow. Do you understand?
That
like,
is so funny.
When we actually do it, it's awesome. But you don't actually feel like doing it all the time. That passion, that rage, that like, oh my God, I will tell you that you feel. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. There are more important things to do with your marriage.
Jesus.
Can't lie to you.
You people here. I'm saying you people, us, are we here? Because us, we are the single people. Are we single to married anyway? But wow, that's so interesting. Like, I never think about, I mean, people always say it, but like, I don't know, I just never, like I said,
lying.
No, seriously.
Lying.
At the start of this video, I told you guys that I don't like when married people talk about celibacy because it just feels like they don't understand.
You understand.
I think that it's important to have this conversation because personally, I feel like I'm representing the single folks, and honestly, I can echo a lot of things that she is saying because I find that even in my relationship, like I just find that we connect on a deeper level, like and because we have made it clear that we're not doing this, it has really helped. Like I can't like things that like I've been with my boyfriend for a year now, and
glory,
Jesus, but it feels like I have known him for 5 years because we have had long conversations. I mean, we always do all these road trips and stuff, so we always have time to talk and talk and talk. We have argued, we have cried, we have laughed, we have done everything. Like, so it's very hard for somebody to come to me and say, oh, you don't know this about your partner. Odds I've already talked about it. Why? Because God has held my neck. Like that, I can't even lie and tell you guys that it has been easy. We literally have a group chat with our mentors and we tell them every time, hey, I'm at this person's house, I'm leaving now. Whenever we have slip-ups, we tell them. So if we want to have a slip-up, we will first calculate, okay, is it worth going back and saying we have done it again now? You're not looking like Bebe Lube.
Do you get?
Like, you know what? I don't want anybody to feel like they are being judged right now, but we're just talking our lives.
There's no judgment in Christ,
and
honestly.
there's literally none. Like, it's just if you have chosen to follow Christ, this is the road that you will be on, and that's just it. And also, I wanted to add as well is like, do you find that your decision to be abstinent kind of helps the foundation of your marriage in longevity? Because in the long term, because I'm the way I thought about it was like, okay, so God knows why he has asked us to be abstinent. Like, you don't know, like, you know, you might start a corporate job one day and see one fine guy in the office like this and say, hey God, my body's doing somehow. So does it come into unfaithfulness and like just like, you know, there are other aspects I feel like we don't really see when it comes to God's plan.
It does.
Because nobody is going to stop being fine because you're married.
Yes.
You get like,
I love that you brought that up because this is I'm a very big advocate of, it's not about, the problem is not sex. The real issue here is the fact that you don't have self-discipline. That is the real issue.
Whoa, Jesus.
And no.
Oh God.
If we want to actually go down to the actual fact, these are conversations that I've had with myself.
No, he said that you don't have the self-discipline and you need to work on it.
And
you need to work on it.
The truth is, I will never say something that I haven't already discussed with myself. I have sat myself and said, Brandy, you don't have any atom of self-discipline. Because if you had self-discipline, you will say, once it's 9 p.m., I'm heading to my house.
Get out of this house.
You will say, no need to come at 10 p.m., even though my body's feeling like this. Don't come and check up on me at this time. Come in the morning. You can wake up at 6 a.m. and come, but don't come at that 10 p.m. It is self-discipline. And if you do not build self-discipline outside of your marriage, you are going to take indiscipline into your marriage. And that's what I'm saying, that if someone starts, if you guys sin against each other when you're not married, if you sin against each other, sin against God when you're not married, and you guys are both comfortable sinning against God when you're not married, when you are now married, you're still going to be sinning against God. You're still going to be sinning against each other. You're still going to be doing all those things. Now, when you see, like Uzoma said, when you see a nice looking lady, a nice looking man, because you don't have self-discipline anyway, you're gonna fall for it. You're going to fall. You have already been sinning against God together. You guys have agreed that, yes, let's continue sinning against God now. When you're married, you will continue.
It's actually much deeper than I think
we realize. It is so much deeper.
And you know, and another thing I find is that, so like you said, like when the pot is there, you don't really want it. And so it's like, I think that God also...
No, like you don't want it, or I want it.
Okay, not like you don't really want it, but as much as you had imagined, right? Based on what
you think all the passion will just burst.
I mean, I hear this from people all the time, but you know, the prayer is that you will want it as much, but you know, just being like, the reality of it is that sometimes it's not like that. But I'm thinking, like, sometimes, like, think about people that have been married for 20 years, 30 years. Like, is that really what they're thinking about at that point? Like I think that God has a plan for this to be this way, so that there is more to the marriage than just sex. So that if you are thinking about your options of, should I leave this marriage, should I not leave this marriage, there would be more to hold on to, if that makes sense. So like, if sex is the foundation of your marriage, as in that is what you guys, all you care about, because of course you have not taken time to actually get to know this person, you don't even know what their mind is like, and of course people change all the time, so you have to keep learning your partner, right? But if you don't actually know this person at their core, at that foundation, at that raw state, like there's not much to hold on to in the long run. Because if it's sex, you can get sex anywhere. So if you don't really know what your partner's, like, quote unquote selling point is, or what it is that is keeping you there, why do you even like this person? Like, let's talk about that. Like, you would not know based on those bloodlines. So in the long run, you're just gonna be like, why am I here again? Divorce. And God hates divorce. That's why God will not tell you that you must marry this person, because I don't believe that there is the one. But my camera just did something. But anyway, God will not tell you, like, I don't think that God necessarily forces you to marry anybody, but you see that person that you marry, you must love them. You must love them. And he says that you have to stay. Obviously, like, domestic violence and any type of abuse is off limits from this. But in any other thing, bro, you have to love them. So if you don't know them, how you love them? Like, and there's so many aspects of this, like even the whole sex outside of marriage, sexual impurity, everything, like it's selfish. Think about it. Like, why are you actually doing it? Is it for your partner's edification? Or is it for their growth in God? Is it for, like, I mean, you might argue that it's for their pleasure, but then really think about it, it's more for you. Because if it was really for them, then you would think about it twice.
You're
like,
satisfying your own desires.
Exactly. And that at its core is like problematic. Anyway, this is the end of this video.
Oh wow.
Because we've talked too much already.
I still want to go on. I'm joking.
You guys, tell us if you want a part 2 of this.
Yeah.
And leave some questions below. And let's see, like, you know, if we can run this back. Because I think this is a really long conversation that cannot be filmed in one video.
It can't.
And I didn't want this to be too long. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Tell me your struggles. Tell us your struggles. Like, what do you find is most complicated? Are there any questions we didn't answer? You know, leave some questions below. Let us know if there's something that you're still like a bit confused about. We'll try to tackle it again if the people want, you know, what the people want. But yeah, thanks so much, Brandy, for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank
Anytime.
you for always coming to see us on the side. And yeah, if you guys want to check out her channel is Oyin Brandy on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Yes.
Just check it all out.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.